Hello, Jen here, and I have a few more cards in my mini album for the ABC Scrappy Challenge that I'm doing. The ABC Scrappy Challenge is a challenge hosted or issued, I guess you could say, by Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life. She started it in January, and I started with her, and then I kind of lost my oomph a little bit. So I've restarted this challenge, and I've given myself something a little bit more focused to work on. I'm going to do this little mini album of Kaylin's dance competition season from last year, and I feel like this is just kind of narrowing the challenge a little bit for me, and I don't know, I guess I feel like I already said more focused, but it's just a smaller task in my mind to be able to just do a couple of cards every couple of weeks and kind of get all the letters done. But I am playing catch up for now, so I'm doing 2 letters. So for this video, I'm doing letter C and letter D. So letter C is collections, and you can see I'm working with the Pink Paisley Wild Child collection. I have both the girl and the boy sets. I got them from Peachy Cheap for pretty cheap, obviously. So what I was able to get is the 6x6 paper pads, the 6x12 sticker sheets, and the ephemera pack. And I do have a few pieces of paper. I think I might have 2 pieces from the boy set and maybe 2 or 3 pieces from the girl set, but I didn't get them. Sorry, my dog is just waking up and stretching. I didn't get them with this, so I'm not going to use them. So when Christy said that C was for collection, for me, what I kind of thought about was the fact that I rarely, if ever, get a full collection, and so I find myself often trying to take just the few elements that I have from any one collection and stretching them to make it feel like I have more and really get the biggest bang for my buck. And so here I just have the 6x6 paper pad, those stickers, and the ephemera, and I really want to kind of stretch all of those elements to be able to make it look like I scrapped with a full collection. So for the first card you saw, I pulled a sticker, that super cute dancing panda, and then I have the ephemera. It's like a little ticket. I popped that up on some foam dots, and I feel like that's a really great way to kind of add some interest to your ephemera. I know lots of people like to use foam, but for me, when you don't have maybe chipboard or enamel or puffy stickers or any of those things, foam is kind of a great way to get that extra interest and that extra dimension and kind of feel like you had more elements than you actually do. So I went ahead and popped that up, and then I love that some of the ephemera pieces have that kind of blue foiling to it, because again, that kind of adds some extra interest and texture into your ephemera. So I used that cute little disco ball, so now it kind of looks like the panda is dancing under the disco ball. And the last thing I did was I used the inside of one of the frames from the ephemera pack, and I cut that up and kind of pieced it back together, and that's where I put my journaling. So sometimes when you have a lot of elements of a kit, those little bits and pieces that are kind of the toss away stuff, like the tops of your 6x6 paper pads where you rip them off, there's always a border up there. Or I shouldn't say always, some obviously don't have that, but this one does. It has the little border, and so I keep all of those. I try not to pull the whole sheet off from the glue, but I pull it off where it's perforated, so I can keep all of those little strips, and then I have little bits of pattern paper and color that I can kind of add in somewhere. So keep the insides of your frames, because they come in handy too. I find some manufacturers will print something in that inside now, but if they didn't, you can always keep them They're great for journaling spots. And then in that second little card, I covered the entire card with one of the pieces of 6x6 paper, which obviously you can go ahead and do, but I just, I didn't like the green. So at first I thought the green would work because there's a little bit of that green in that picnic blanket that I used, but I wasn't liking it with the rest of the ephemera and stuff, so I went ahead and covered that. I used the picnic blanket. I knew I probably would never use it as a picnic blanket, so I used it just kind of as a little embellishment to add a pop of color on the side of my picture. And what else did I do in there? I cut apart that little piece of ephemera that was a speech bubble. I didn't really need it to be a speech bubble, and I couldn't get it to fit somewhere where it made sense as a speech bubble. So I just kind of cut it apart and pieced it back together, kind of squished it together so it fit in the space that I wanted it to fit in. And I think that's it for that card. And then, and I cut a little piece, I fussy cut a piece from this piece of paper. So this paper pad has that piece of paper that you see me cutting out right now. I'm cutting a second little piece to go on this card. And that's a great way if you get a collection and you don't end up getting any of the ephemera to go with it. Cut up some of the paper. Often now you get collections, and in paper pads they'll have some cut apart papers, like the one you can kind of see underneath that top paper. You could use that top paper as a paper the way it is, but as soon as I saw it, I instantly think of cutting it apart. So, you can make your own ephemera that way too. So I went ahead and did that for 2 of the cards. And then on that third card, I just stuck a sticker, that big floral, and that little piece that I fussy cut and did my journaling. And that's it. So pretty simple cards, but I'm really stretching this collection to get the most out of it that I can. And then I moved on to the letter D, and the letter D stands for deeper story. So the first picture that I came across that I really wanted to tell a deeper story about is this picture of Kaylin and her duet partner. So you can see I'm kind of using the elements of the card, the notes from today, and the little lines right here. I'm going to do my journaling. Those are directly on the Project Life card. And then those little colorful arrows on the other side, I kind of kept those and just kind of let them be a decorative element. And then I used a few pieces from that Maggie Holmes sticker book just to add a little bit of extra interest. And then I just really wanted to spend some time telling the story of this duet. This was the first time that Kaylin and her partner had done a duet together. They did have a quite close relationship, so they knew each other. They were kind of excited to work together. And the teacher that choreographed this number for them had seen them working together the season before, and so she kind of had this in mind that they would make a good duet partnership. And so she worked on the choreography over the summer. It was the first number she choreographed for that particular competition season. And all of them were just really excited and proud. They got started a little bit early to really, give themselves the time to do the absolute best that they can. And it was a very uplifting and confidence building thing for Kaylin to know that somebody created this with her in mind, that this was the type of number that the choreographer had said she would never ever have choreographed it for anybody else. And you do hear that quite a bit, but she specifically chose these 2 girls, and that means a lot, especially when you have a kid with anxiety disorder who doesn't always have the best self-esteem. To hear that this was special just for her, I want her to remember that, and I want her to remember that they worked their butts off. They practiced so much, far beyond what was required of them. They were booking extra studio time as much as they could, as often as they could, for as long as they could, and really worked their hardest to make this a beautiful number. The song that they did it to was Sigh No More by Mumford and Sons, and it's a very mature song for two girls that were still quite young. And the number itself was really mature, and so they really had to take the time to kind of figure out what the song meant to them and what story they were telling. And they pulled it off, man. People were so impressed. They placed at every competition that we went to, and we still have people telling us that this number really was special to them and that it really touched their hearts. And so, of course, that is such a proud mama moment for myself and the other girl's mom to be told that this number had a big impact on a lot of people. So I just wanted to make sure that we documented that for Kaylin, that she could remember how special it was. So that is the deeper story for that picture, and there'll be a couple other spots where I'll kind of elaborate on that as I get through the mini album. There's a couple other pictures of the two of them together at other competitions, so I'll just kind of keep elaborating on that story. And then for this last card here, it's a picture of my daughter's costumes. So before every competition, you have to pull out all the costumes, make sure that you've gotten all the wrinkles out, that you have all the accessories and the shoes, and the shoes are clean and the tights don't have runs in them. You know, just all the stuff you have to do to be prepared. So we pulled it all out, and it kind of filled up the whole Chesterfield, and it kind of brought us into a conversation about comparing yourself to other dancers. Lots of dancers, when they get their competition placements, the first thing they ask is, how many numbers do you have? How many solos do you have? That kind of thing. And so we just talked about how everybody's different and everybody's limit is different. And it's amazing to be able to challenge yourself and push yourself every year to maybe do a little bit more, step up a little bit more. But you still have to know what your limit is and be able to respect yourself, so that every time you perform, you are giving 110% of yourself. And it's something you need a lot of confidence to have, especially when you're younger and when you're a teen. That's so hard to not compare yourselves to others. So that is the deeper story, is just kind of talking about that conversation and reminding Kaylin of all of the lessons that we kind of talked about, and the importance of, you know, being true to herself and do what works best for her, so that she can always perform at 110% and feel like she is the most successful that she can be. And so I embellished there, you can see, with some Maggie Holmes stickers from that sticker book, and I did a little pocket for my journaling where I just did that mixed media tag with some blue in there. ADA's colors are blue, so go blue. And did my journaling on those tags, and that's it. Those are my cards for this week. So I'm all done. A, B, C, D, and E, F, G will be coming up soon. I will leave links down below to Christy's Facebook page so you can go and check out the challenge. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Until next time, happy scrapping. Stay safe. Bye.